The sixth Adhyaya of Sri Bhagavad Gita is Atma Sanyama Yoga, also called Dhyana Yoga, which is the path of self-restraint or meditation to attain the divine. Meditation is important to allow our mind to become quiet, and meditation is not possible without self-restraint or Atma Sanyama. In the sixth Adhyaya, Shri Krishna talks about the different aspects of Vedantic meditation called Nididhyasana. The main purpose of the sixth Adhyaya is for the assimilation, Atmasad, of the divine knowledge, Gnana, in our life. For meditation to happen and for progress to happen on the spiritual path, the body has to become quiet and the mind needs to become still. There are several types of meditation. Some help us to achieve relaxation, to improve our concentration, and some to develop an attitude of abundance in life. The main meditation which happens after listening to Vedanta, Shravana, is for the assimilation of the self-knowledge. This meditation is called Nididhyasana, which is the meditation on our real or the true self or the nature of our own self, called Atma Swarupa Dhyana. It is important to be steadfast in the truth that is revealed by Vedanta, and for that we need to change our old impressions, viparyaya, and our strong beliefs to make the knowledge steadfast and making it the presiding authority in our life. The first words of the sixth Adhyaya starts with words of Bhagavan Krishna, who stresses the importance of Karma Yoga as a first step in the spiritual journey for meditation to happen as the next step in the journey. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Anashrita Karma Phalam. He says, by living attachments to the fruits of actions, Karyam Karma Karoti Yaha, one who does his own actions, prescribed duties, Kartavya Karma, as by the attitudes of Karma Yoga, Sasanyasi Cha Yogi Cha. Such a Karma Yogi is a sannyasi and he is a true yogi. Na niragnir na chakriyaha, and not the one who just gives up actions to become sannyasi. So in the vision of Krishna, both the lifestyles of the householder, the grihastha, and that of a renunciate, the sannyasa, are conducive to the final goal of complete freedom from all limitations, that is moksha. Krishna says both these paths are essentially the same. Krishna described two lifestyles in the beginning of the third Adhyaya when he said Lokesmin Duvidha Nishtha, the knowledge, the Gnana Nishtha, and the Karma Nishtha, the actions. But now he's saying these are not two separate paths but both are the same. He says, Yam Sanyasamiti Prahu Yogam Tam Vidhi Pandava. Arjuna, know that sannyasa is the same as Karma Yoga. Naya Sanyasta Sankalpo. One who has not left his own binding desires, Yogi Bhavati Kashana, does not even become a yogi. Krishna says both Karma Yogi and Sannyasi, they need to renounce their binding desires, which is the root of the problem. Finally, in the next verse, Krishna resolves the dilemma of Arjuna by showing him who is eligible for which path. The selection of the path depends on the inclination, eligibility, and the accomplishment of the seeker. So this is now the end of the Arjuna's dilemma, whether to go for the knowledge path or the actions path, Gnana versus Karma. From the questions of Arjuna in the beginning of the third and the fifth Adhyaya, we could see this dilemma. And Bhagavan now puts an end to this dilemma. He says, Arurukshor Muner Yogam Karma Karanam Muchyate. For the seeker who desires to ascend, to go up on the path of yoga, Karma Yoga is the means. Yoga rudhasya tasyaiva shamah karanam uchyate. And one who has firmly been established in the yoga path, sannyasa is the means, or the renunciation is the means for his journey. So for the one who has many desires to fulfill in life, for the one who has many strong likes, raga, and dislikes, dvesha, for the one who is attached much to actions, and for the one who does not have natural control over his or her own self, including restraint of the mind, body, and senses, for such a person, Karma Yoga is the means to embark on the spiritual journey. Most of us are eligible, therefore, for Karma Yoga as a primary method for spiritual progress. For the one who has achieved the peak of the yoga of self-restraint, the knowledge, the renunciation is the means to the final goal. Krishna defines one who is firmly established in yoga, who is yoga rudha, and one who has all these three restraints in the next shloka. Yada hinendriyartheshu. He has no attraction in the sense objects, indriya, sanyama. Na karma swanushajjate. No attachment to the actions, suggests restraint over the body, sharira. Sarva sankalpa sannyasi. And one who renounces all the worldly desires, suggesting he has control over his mind. Yoga rudhastadochyate. Then that person is considered to have become yoga rudha. Krishna summarizes that one who has a restraint over one's own self is considered to be the master of the self. That person alone is eligible to attain the final goal of life. Most of the spiritual journey is meant for attaining such a self-restraint. Most of us have a restless mind. We keep thinking about a lot of issues that occur during the day. Not only that, we keep thinking about what happened in the past and keep worrying about what will happen in the future. This incessant thinking originates from our deep desires to achieve something, either from outside materially in the form of wealth, status, power, or internal peace and happiness. Due to our restless mind, our body also keeps active to do some or the other actions for the fulfillment of these desires. As soon as we fulfill one desire, another one is ready to spring in our mind. Each karma, thoughts, words, or actions creates an impression in our mind. And this eternal cycle of incessant thoughts leading to desires, leading to actions, leading to impressions, more desires, more actions, more impressions, this keeps going on and on without our awareness. Even if we sit in silence for some time, this incessant stream of thoughts continue. In the eyes of Krishna, only the person who has self-restraint of the senses, mind and the body to control this incessant flow of thoughts is eligible for the path to the meditation and to further progress on the spiritual path. Till that stillness and awakening is achieved, the seeker is eligible only for Karma Yoga. How do we achieve that restraint of mind? Krishna describes in the beautiful next verse. He says to Arjuna, you make your own efforts to become steady in yoga, to become yoga rudha. Uddharet atmana atmanam. He says, elevate yourself, Arjuna, by your own self. Atmanam na avasadayet. You don't let yourself down. Atma eva hi atmano bandhuhu. You are your own friend. Atmana evam atmanaha ripuhu. And you are your own enemy. Krishna describes how our own efforts are so important in life, both in the material achievements and on the spiritual path for enlightenment. We need to have a self-motivation to continuously put in our best efforts and to make the best use of our given time. This is our own grace on our own self, which is called Atma Krupa. To let the grace of Ishvara, Ishvara Krupa, Guru, Guru Krupa, and scriptures, Shastra Krupa, to happen, we need to have our own grace, Atma Krupa, to the best of our abilities. Krishna also tells Arjuna, Uddhared Atmana Atmanam. Elevate yourself by your own self, Arjuna. It is your responsibility for any change to happen in your vision. Thus, I need to do my duties to the best possible level with Atma Krupa. And we need to change our false beliefs and misconceptions which we have been nurturing since ages. We should also be aware not to let ourselves down or ruin ourselves. Atmanam na avasadayet. He says, as much as it is important to be positive on this path, it is even more important not to get negative thoughts that pull us down. At every opportunity, we should rise from where we are and be open for learning, change, and improvement. We should make a conscious effort to avoid thoughts and actions that bring us down. We should also make clear goals in life and put in efforts to work towards reaching them. We should keep walking and make way around the obstacles, just like a flowing river naturally courses around an obstructing rock. Krishna says, you are your own friend or you are your own enemy, and progress or otherwise in life depends on our own choices, and therefore we need to make wise choices in life. How can we make our mind our own best friend? Krishna describes in the next verse, he says, Bandhur atmatmanastasya. This mind-body complex is like a friend, yenatmaivatmana jitaha, for one who has achieved the victory over the self, over his own body, mind and intellect. Anatmastu shatrutve vartitatmaiva shatruvata. One who does not have this kind of self-restraint, mind becomes one's own enemy. So Krishna says victory over our own mind is the real success of life. In life we may achieve much material success in form of immense wealth and good family, but unless we have a mind which is conducive and receptive to the success, there is no happiness or bliss in life. Real happiness comes only when the mind is quiet, still, satisfied and peaceful, and this is a real bliss in life. Krishna praises self-restraint, Atma Sanyama, and equates it with the true happiness in life. He says, Jitatmana prashantasya. One who has control over his self becomes tranquil or peaceful. Paramatma samahitaha. And divinity is well established in his or her own self. Shitoshna sukha dukkheshu tatha manapamana yoho. And is well balanced, having samatva in all the dualities of life, whether it may be heat, cold, praise, criticism, and others. Krishna says it is only with a self-restraint one can develop a quiet mind in which one can attain the divinity. The secret of having peace in life is to have a well-balanced internal approach towards the dualities of life. If we can develop an equanimous attitude towards both, neither to get too elated by praise or too disturbed by criticism, this signifies a victory over our own mind. Such a peaceful mind is a prerequisite to practice subtle spiritual disciplines like meditation, so we can perceive the divinity by going deep within ourselves. Now Krishna says, wise, the yogi is equanimous, he has sahaj samatva, one who is firmly realized in the wisdom of scriptures and one who has conquered his own senses and is a witness. Samaloshtashma kanchana, he is able to see oneness in the sand, stone and gold, having samatva buddhi, and this integrated person is a yogi. By virtue of the divine knowledge, this person has oneness of vision, samatva drashti, and is able to see the one divinity which pervades all the living beings and the non-living things. The vision of such a person is on the substratum, the adhishtan and the foundation, and not on the forms which are superimposed on this tattva, which are adhyasta. That wise person also sees oneness in all the living beings in the Chetan. One who sees the oneness in the friend, enemy, detached person, mediator, rival, relative, saints or sinners, and those who have the sameness of vision everywhere, such a person is a unique person. The wise does not discriminate or see all the differences in this world. Instead, they have disciplined their mind to see the unity of all the elements in nature. Now in the next 8 verses, Shri Krishna describes some very important aspects of meditation for the seeker who is on the path to divine attainment. He says, Yogi yunjita satatam. Practice yoga by being a yogi always, continuously. Atmanam rahasistita, by contemplating on the Atman, sitting in isolation. Ekaki yata chittatma, by keeping our mind in complete control. Nirashihi, without any expectations or desires. Aparigraha, by becoming a non-possessor. Otherwise, we'll all keep on thinking about desires and possessions in our meditation or dhyana. Krishna shows that the outer preparations are also important for meditation. He says, Shuchau deshe pratishtapya. Sit in a clean place by positioning oneself. Sthiram asanam atmanaha. The asana, the seat, must be steadily established. Natyuchritam na atinicham. It should not be too high nor too low. Chailajina kushottaram. And this, on this asana, which is made up of cotton, on the deer skin, on the grass, it's a 3-layer asana. Steady the mind in the goal for inner purification. And then he says, Tatra upavishyasa asane, sitting on this seat, ekagram manah krutva, by focusing the mind, yatah chitta indriya akriyaha, bringing to halt all the thoughts and actions of the senses and the mind. Yunjat yogam atma vishuddhaye. Practice yoga of meditation for the purpose of inner self-purification. Meditation needs a quiet mind to concentrate on ourself. We need to gradually move away from our strong identification to body, mind, intellect, ego, to know that we are the pure consciousness, the pure awareness, the knower of the three states of our daily experience, and the knower of these three types of bodies, the Sthula, Sukshma, and the Karana Sharira. We need to continuously do this kind of practice with discipline and faith, having heard what is the reality from the Guru. The idea is to change our false identification due to our old habits, viparyaya, into new impression, sanskara, by the practice of meditation. The purpose of meditation is to develop purification of mind from the old impressions and repeated unaware behavior. Krishna describes the body posture during meditation. He says, Samam Kaya Shira Griva. By keeping the back, head and neck in one straight line, Dharayan Achalam Stiraha. By maintaining the posture with a very steady body, Sampreksha Nasika Gram Swam. With closed eyes, seeing the center of our own eyebrows, Dishascha Navalokayan. And by not seeing in any other directions. The period of meditation can start with a short time sitting in silence with eyes closed, to begin with 5 to 10 minutes initially. Gradually, this period needs to be increased by practice to at least 45 minutes every day. Yogis can easily practice continuous meditation for hours, and once they can maintain the same position for 3 hours, this is called asana siddhi in meditation. Now Krishna describes the condition of the mind in meditation. He says, Prashantatma Vigatabihi, a quiet mind which is free from fears. Brahmachari Vrate Stitaha, established in sense control. Manah Sanyamya, by restraining our own mind. Machitta Matparaha, by concentrating on me and by keeping me as a final goal. Krishna says, Yukta Asita Matparaha. This integrated personality, this yogi, sits in meditation by keeping me as the final goal. And what are the benefits of meditation? The dhyana sadhana. In this way, when the yogi who keeps on meditating, niyatamanasa, keeping his mind under control, sadatmanam, always engaging in his own self, the Atma Swarupa Yogam Yunjan, practices meditation, Shantim Nirvana Paramam, he achieves eternal peace within his own self, Matsanstha Madhigachati, and achieves me, my highest self, Bhagavan says. The path of meditation, the dhyana sadhana, helps us to attain the divine. The Vedantic meditation needs to be done continuously for long periods on a regular basis with discipline and with focus of the mind to attain the goal. However, doing meditation with such persistence and discipline is not an easy task. This is the experience of most of us, and that's why the entire lifestyle for the day and life needs to be modulated for meditation. Krishna says, one who eats too much is not able to meditate, neither the one who eats too little. And one who sleeps too much is also not able to meditate, neither is the one who keeps awake for long. So all our activities during the day, including being social or attending large gatherings, affects our meditation. Thus, to practice 1 hour of meditation daily, we need to take care of another 23 hours of our life. Krishna describes who is the most benefited from meditation. He says, Yukta Hara Viharasya, Yukta Chestasya Karmasu. One whose food, activities and actions are all balanced. Yukta Swapna Avabodhasya. And one who has adequate sleep. Yogo Bhavati Dukkhaha. For such persons, meditation will take away all the miseries and pains. Krishna says a balanced lifestyle is essential for meditation. He praises the middle path, the Madhyam Panthi, where one balances between neither too much or too little. All throughout the day, work and personal life must also be balanced. Our food must be healthy and in appropriate quantities, and our sleep should also be adequate for about 6 to 8 hours. And after years of practice, the climax of meditation happens, which is described in the next verse. What is the state of the mind in the deep state of meditation? Krishna says, Yada viniyatam chittam. One whose mind is completely under self-control, nispruha sarva kamebhyo, remains unattached to all the worldly objects, anatma. Atmani eva vatishtate, and remains steady in the true self or the Atma. Tada yukta iti uchyate. And then this yogi is called a yukta or an integrated yogi. Meditation is all about the state of mind, the chitta avastha. In the deeper states of meditation, the mind becomes much more calm, quiet and serene. This happens by the constant practice of dispassion from all the worldly objects, attachments to people, by detachment, vairagya, and thereby withdrawing the mind from such objects, anatma, and steadying it in our true self, the Atma. This process is a slow and a steady process, and thus change happens very gradually. And then during the climax of meditation, the mind is like a lighted lamp, Krishna says. Yada Deepa Nivatasto Na Ingate, just like a lighted lamp placed in a place where there is no air does not waver. Such an example is given for Yogina Yatachittasya, for the yogi who has a complete control over his own mind, keeps meditating on the self. The mind of the yogi remains absolutely steady. Their emotions, their responses in life are also very balanced. They avoid the extremes of emotions and the responses are proactive rather than reactive. And what are the characteristics of that yogi who has attained divinity? When the mind is calmed by meditation, which becomes still, and with a pure mind the intellect perceives the own self, and by this vision remains completely satisfied in the own self. And yogi perceives his inner bliss, which is much superior to the sense pleasures. And Bhagavan says, Sukham atyantikam yattata buddhi graham atindriyam. Yogi achieves this inner bliss, which is experienced in his own mind and intellect, which cannot be perceived by the sense organs. Cha evayam vetti yatra stitaha. One who knows this state of happiness, na chalati tattvataha, does not waver from this state of being in his own self, tattva. The yogi who pursues the path of meditation and reaches the climax of meditation, samadhi avastha, perceives a lasting peace in his or her own self. This happiness is lasting happiness, atyantik sukha, and which is directly experienced. It is gnata sukha. In contrast to the happiness that comes from the objects from outside, which is transiently perceived and is dependent on those objects. What is the great benefit of knowing our true self, Atma Labha? Krishna says, after achieving which, knowing the self, there is nothing further needs to be achieved. Yasmin stitaha, after being established in this, gurunapi api dukkhena na vichalayed, does not get perturbed by the great pains or miseries. When we truly understand our own real self, Atma Swarupa, which is nothing but pure awareness, by the practice of meditation, the dhyana sadhana, then we can internalize this knowledge into our very being. This pure knowledge will remove all our misconceptions about our own self, remove all doubts to reveal our true state, which is devoid of any pains and miseries. Upanishad tells us that all the pains that we perceive in our mind is due to the improper understanding of the reality, and therefore it is our responsibility to change our vision. How can I achieve such a wonderful state where there is no pain and only inner bliss and lasting happiness? Krishna says, knowing is achieving. He says, Tam vidyat dukkha sanyoga viyogam yoga sangnitam. He says that you should know as yoga. What is it? Letting go, the viyoga of the union with miseries, the dukkha sanyoga. This is the sanishchayena yoktavyo. This is the path. Yoga sadhana should be pursued with a firm resolve, anirvinna chetasa, with a lot of enthusiasm without getting tired. In life, we are daily affected by physical pains and mental agony due to things not happening according to our expectations and desires. Somebody disrespects us or criticizes us and we become upset. This association with pain and miseries, dukkha sanyoga, in our day-to-day life is an illusion in the eyes of Krishna. Once we let go of this illusion in the light of knowledge, dukkha sanyoga viyogam, it says this itself is the union with the divine, that is yoga sangnitam, and that is what is worth knowing, tam vidyat, and this is what we need to pursue in our life. We need to accept the truth, the reality of what is our true self, Atma, and the non-true misconceived self, the Anatma. On the spiritual path, there is nothing like failure, there is only progress. Nothing goes in vain. Whatever we do, we get the appropriate results or the fruits. Every opportunity is a learning opportunity. Every failure has a lesson we need to learn and move on. It is we who need to change our vision, our understanding, and not enforce the change on others. How can I embark on this journey? Krishna says control of our senses, the Indriya Sanyama, is the first step for meditation. He says Sankalpa Prabhavan Kaman, the desires that arise out of imagination, Tyaktva Sarvana Asheshataha, needs to be completely renounced. Manasa Indriya Grama Vinayamya Samantataha, by the mind and controlling all the sense organs. The desires are the kamna, the root cause of most of our problems. These desires arise out of imagination, samyak kalpana, that achieving these objects will make me happy, and this will be very useful to me in life. During meditation, we need to leave all these options, sankalpa, out of our mind. And then progress happens slowly. We have to keep trying. Krishna says, Shanai Shanai Uparamed. All change happens very slowly. We need to keep withdrawing our mind from all these worldly attachments, buddhya dhruti gruhitaya, with the firmness of intellect to pursue the path. Atmasanstam manah krutva, remain firmly engrossed in our consciousness, our atma, na kinchidapi chintayet, without thinking of anything else. The mind needs to be trained, and this happens very slowly. The entire journey is for the maturity of the mind. During meditation, dhyana abhyas, we constantly need to see that I am the observer, sakshi, aware of all the three states. The three states come and go. They are anitya, in myself nitya, which is constant and unchanging. In this true self, I need to steady my mind, atmasanstam manah krutva. This helps me to feel the inner bliss, peace, the bliss within, without thinking of anything else. Na kinchidapi chintayet. And the goal of meditation is the climax, samadhi, or enlightenment, sakshatkara. However, in real life, meditation is difficult for most of us. This is because of the monkey mind which keeps wandering. What to do? Krishna says, Yatah yatah nischarati manah chanchalam asthiram. For whatever reasons the mind wanders, because the mind is very restless and unsteady. Tatah tatah niyamyai tatah atmani eva vasham nayet. From there on, go get hold of the mind and put it back in our pure awareness, our Atma. Krishna concedes that mind is very restless and unsteady. It keeps wandering from one object to the other. This is because of the many impressions of the past, the samskaras. And we need to do whatever we need to do and keep doing the same thing. There are many obstacles to meditation, dhyana vikshepa hetu. The desires, kamana, the ambitions which arise out of our incompleteness within, the anger, the krodha, the many fears, bhaya, and anxiety, udvega, which does not allow us to progress. Constant stress, chinta, dejection, nirasha, in failures also does not allow us to progress. Helplessness, deenata, keeping too much busy in our work, karya bahulyam, leads to fatigue and does not allow us to meditate. Undecided mind which keeps thinking about different options, sankalpa, and sleepiness, alasya, pramada, are the other obstacles. After overcoming all these obstacles, we can enjoy the real benefits of meditation. What are those benefits of meditation? Krishna says, yogi by meditation knows the one Brahma in all and achieves the peace by letting go of the rajas, by destroying all the impurities or papa, and he attains uttamam sukham upaiti, achieves the eternal bliss, prashanta manasam yenam, where the mind and the senses are quiet. The yogi keeps negating the non-self anatmakar vritti to reach the true self atma swarupa by the practice of meditation. This state is devoid of any pains or dukkha, and this state is the peaceful because the disturbances created by the rajas guna, the desires and anger, are relieved. The inner bliss that the yogi perceives or feels in is independent and at his own volition. Thus, the yogi who makes efforts to reach the goal with self-control in this way, by following all the previously given suggestions, ever constantly trying to be in the self or the atma, and whose impurities are removed, atyamtam sukham ashnute, achieves the eternal bliss, brahma sansparsham, by communion with the supreme divinity, sukhena, and happily or easily achieves this without any dependence on others. Now in the next three shlokas, from the 29 to 31, Krishna describes the highest divine knowledge of the self, Atma Gnana, its process, Prakriya, and its benefits, the Phala. The great words, the Mahavakya, the essence of the Upanishad is revealed, Tattvamasi, Ayam Atma Brahma. The oneness of the supreme consciousness and the ever union of the individual soul and the all-pervading universal consciousness is revealed by the Jeev Brahma Aikya. In Tat Tvam Asi, the Tat stands for the divinity Paramatma, the Tvam stands for the individual Jivatma, and the Asi is for the oneness or the Aikya Gnana, that everything is just one and the same. How can we see this oneness in many differences? Krishna says, Sarva Bhutastam Atmanam, one who knows that within all the beings there is one soul, Atma. Sarva Bhutani cha Atmani, and sees all the beings in the same consciousness. Atma or Brahma. Yoga Yukta Atma Ikshate. This is a vision of the Yukta yogi. Sarvatra Samadarshana, sees oneness everywhere. The wise man knows without any doubt that I am the pure consciousness, Aham Atma Shuddha Chaitanya, and I am not the body-mind complex, and that within all the beings, Sarva Bhuta, the same consciousness, Atma or Chaitanya, pervades. Sarva Bhutastam Atmanam. She also knows certainly that all the beings are suspended in the same consciousness, Sarva Bhutani Cha Atmani. The same self which is perceived individual consciousness, the Atma, is the same as the all-pervading supreme consciousness, the Sarva Vyapaka Chaitanya or Brahma. Just as due to the transient form and the name pot given to it, there is a differentiation between the space which is within the pot, called Ghatakasha, and the space which is outside the pot, called Mahakasha. In essence, from the perspective of the space, there is no difference between these spaces which are created by the pot assuming its form for a transient period. Similarly, the body of all the beings are assumed transiently, which creates all the differences. The consciousness Chaitanya in the body, Ghatakasha, is the same as all the bodies which are suspended in the same all-pervading consciousness, Chaitanya or Mahakasha. There is only one consciousness, Chaitanya, which is all-pervading, Sarva Vyapak, both inside and outside of all the beings and things, Mahakasha. This vision of seeing oneness in all the differences, Sarvatra Samadarshanaha, is the vision of the wise man firmly steady in wisdom. The oneness of the Jiva and the Ishvara is what the next slok, Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra. Krishna says, one who sees me everywhere, Sarvam cha mai pashyati, and sees everything within me. Tasyaham na pranashyami, always sees me, I am not destroyed for that person. Sachame na pranashyati, and I always feel very close to that person. At the climax of knowledge, the devotee feels one with the divine. One who has realized the divinity in this way, seeing only one divinity everywhere, Sarvatra Ishvara Darshana, for that man there is no going back to the illusion of being away from the divine, even for a moment. And what is the benefit of this knowledge of oneness? Sarva Bhuta Stitam Yo Mam. One who sees me in all the beings, Bhajati Ekatva Mam Stitaha, and devotes by being one with the me, this enlightened wise person, wherever he or she lives, Mai Vartate, lives within me. The benefit of the knowledge happens during this lifetime. By seeing one in all diversities, seeing oneness in this universe, that wise person attains complete freedom from all the pains, miseries, fears, attachments, and expectations. The final fruit of attaining the divinity and having completely fulfilled the inner bliss of our own self is the highest benefit of this knowledge. This is the ultimate success of human life. What they share in common is extreme compassion, not for just the humans, but for all the beings in this universe. And how do these wise people have so much of compassion for others? Krishna says, Atmaupamyena sarvatra stamam pashyati Arjuna. O Arjuna, they see their own self in everyone. Sukham va yadiva dukkham sayogi paramo mataha, and feel the pain or pleasure of others, and such a yogi is the greatest yogi in my opinion. The vision of the wise is to see the same consciousness as a foundation, Adhisthana, of all the beings in the universe. They know that it is with this thread that all the different beads of the universe are entwined. When the vision is on the colorful beads, we miss to see the thread which upholds all the beads. These wise men never hurt anyone by their actions, words, or even thoughts. Arjuna now asks a question which reflects every seeker's experience. Arjuna uvacha yoyam yogastvaya proktaha samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalatvat stitim stiram. He says, O Madhusudana, the yoga that you just mentioned of oneness, I cannot see a firm state of that yoga, because it says chanchalatvat stitim stiram, as the mind is very, very restless. Having heard the highest goal, Arjuna feels that this goal looks very difficult to achieve in life. He knows the major obstacle is within us, not outside us. Our own mind, which is so restless and unsteady, does not allow us to focus and pursue the journey that is needed to achieve such a goal. So many other distractions happen to us day in and day out in our life, which takes us away from our goals. The main enemies which remain hidden within us are our strong likes and dislikes, raga, dvesha, created by our own past experiences, and this is the main cause for the restless mind. They force us to act without giving much thought and make us do things which we would never think of doing. Arjuna further clarifies. He says, he describes the state of the mind and how difficult it is to control. He says, Chanchala mimana Krishna, pramathi balavadrudam. Because, oh Krishna, the mind is so restless, it churns everything, is powerful and obstinate. Tasyaham nigraham manye vayo eva sudushkaram. Therefore, I understand that to control the mind is very difficult, just like controlling the wind. Everyone wants a quiet mind, which would listen to ourselves, which can help us take important decisions wisely, and which can help us to meditate on our own self. We are mostly unable to control our mind. There is always a duel between what the mind wants to do and what the intellect wants to do. Mana buddhi yuddha. Therefore, Arjuna is asking from none other than Shri Krishna, who is Ishvara, who has complete control over his senses and mind, regarding how he can control his mind. Krishna accepts and says, yes, the mind is restless, the control is definitely difficult, but it is not impossible. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asanshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagyena cha Gruhyate. Says, oh great warrior, there is no doubt that control over the mind is very difficult, but he also shows two solutions. The mind can be controlled by abhyasa, by constant practice, and by vairagya, by detachment. He says constant practice and detachment are the two ways to achieve modulation of the mind. Constant practice or abhyasa is nothing but repeated regular revisions of the same job or the skill that we keep doing to first learn it and then to master the skill. Detachment or vairagya is nothing but carrying out all our actions with non-attachment to our near dear ones and the material possessions, with a kind of dispassion for being emotional about issues. The attitude of the aspirant seeker should be to interact with all the worldly objects with the current understanding of its true nature. Concluding the 6th Adhyaya, the union with the self-control, Atma Sanyama Yoga, Krishna praises the one who has self-control and gives his final opinion. He says, Asanyata Atmana Yoga Dushprapa iti me matihi. For the one who has no self-control, meditation, dhyana is difficult. But for the one who is fully under self-control and keeps on trying with practice and detachment, the meditation is definitely possible, and this is my opinion. In the final verses of the 6th Adhyaya, Arjuna has a doubt. If for some reason the journey does not reach to its legitimate goal and gets interrupted, what will be the onward journey for this seeker? Whatever she has done, will it get wiped off? And he or she needs to start afresh? Krishna gives him solace and shows that the onward journey of the aspirant is according to his previous deeds. Arjuna uvacha ayati shraddhayo peto yoga chalita manasaha aprapya yoga sansiddhim kamgatim krishna gacchati. He says, Arjuna says, those who have faith in the Guru scriptures, for some reason their mind gets diverted from yoga and they are not able to go on this path with adequate enthusiasm. They are not able to reach their goal. Kam gatim Krishna gacchati. He says, what will be the onward journey of this aspirant? Spiritual journey needs our own efforts, purushartha. Without efforts or yatna, we cannot reach to any goal. On the spiritual path, greater efforts are needed, prayatna, where we need to pursue the right means in the adequate proportion, paryapta matra, with persistence, with a priority for a prolonged period of time. These efforts need to be continued in the right direction, yathartha, and only then the fruits will be obtained. If one, due to delusions, could not reach to the goal, kachina ubhaya vibrashta, whether he would be lost from both the sides, chinna brahmiva nashyati, and get destroyed like a cloud. Etan me sanchayam Krishna. This is my doubt, O Krishna. Chettum arhasya sheshataha. You are the only one capable of completely removing or destroying my doubt, because no one else apart from you can clear this doubt of mine. This question also demonstrates Arjuna's immense faith in Krishna as being Ishvara. He only knows the onward journey of all the beings completely, and no one else can answer this question. Krishna answers, he gives solace to Arjuna and says, nothing goes in vain on the spiritual path. One who has done some elevating actions never goes on a downward journey. This man will not be destroyed in this world or the other lokas, in the heaven also. On the spiritual path, nothing goes in vain, and there is nothing like failure. Everything that we do, act, or even think counts and is noted in our account. Good deeds are recorded as impressions in our accounts as virtues, punya, whereas bad deeds are recording as sins, papa. Our balance of good or not so good karma at the time of death will determine our onward journey. Krishna describes the onward journey for the one who is unfulfilled in yoga, yoga brashta. He says, having virtues due to the good deeds of the past sadhana, that person achieves the higher lokas or heaven, and after staying there, enjoying the pleasures for many years, one who has fallen from yoga, who could not reach the goal, then takes birth in a pious or a prosperous family. Athava, in the next shloka, he shows another option. That person takes birth in the family of yogis or the learned, and this kind of birth is even more rare in this world. Krishna praises the second option because it is only in the human birth that we have the potential to attain the divine. In all other births, like the higher lokas or other animals, birds or reptile species, there is no such opportunity. How does a person start the onward journey in the new birth? And Krishna says, in this birth, the previous karma-related impressions, sanskaras, they join with the impressions or sanskaras of the mind and intellect, buddhi yoga, and from there on, that person starts his own effort, sadhana, to reach the goal. All the previous sanskaras or impressions of the practice of spirituality, sadhana, pushes the person into his onward journey. By desire to know the truth and by his own efforts, that person transcends the worldly actions prescribed in the Vedas. The past impressions by the actions done in the previous birth are never destroyed, and some circumstances become instrumental to restart the spiritual journey. The intense desire to reach the goal and the efforts put in by the aspirant are important to continue on the journey. The person needs to be aware, be in good company, and develop detachment from material pleasures to attain the divinity. The spiritual progress needs efforts for many lives. The seeker who makes all necessary and wholehearted efforts, purifies all sins and impurities, aneka janma sansiddhim, efforts of many such lives, tatah yati param gatim, then finally achieves the freedom or moksha. The spiritual progress needs conscious efforts, prayatnat yataman, done with enthusiasm, patience, eagerness, in the right direction, in an appropriate amount, continued forever with understanding and with the goal always in the mind, then that will become fructified. And this kind of efforts done with upholding the values and the virtues, removing all the sins and impurities of the mind. Finally, Krishna praises the yogi and the path of yoga. He says, Arjuna, in my view, this yogi is superior to the ascetic, tapasvi. And this yogi is superior to the knowledgeable or pandita. And this kind of a Atma Sanyama yogi is superior to karma yogi. Tasmat yogi bhava Arjuna, he says, therefore gives a call to Arjuna to become a yogi. And here the word yogi means Atma Sanyama yoga, because that is the subject matter of this chapter. According to Guru Maharaj, the main message of this verse is that there are many means or sadhana to attain the one divinity. However, no single means sadhana is good enough. We need to utilize several means like karma, tapa, gnana, sadhana, and all these other means to perform a comprehensive spiritual journey, sadhana, according to our own inclination, to get the benefits of each of the means for our progress. Finally, coming to the end of the Adhyaya, Krishna answers, who is the best yogi? He says, Yogi namapi sarvesham. The best of all yogis is the one, madgate antaratmana, who keeps his or her mind in me continuously. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam, who worships me with a lot of faith. Same yukta tamah mataha. And that, in my opinion, is the best yogi. One who uses the yoga path, the yoga sadhana to connect with the Supreme is a yogi. Even during daily vyavahara, daily conduct, our day-to-day life, one who is connected with the divinity is a true yogi. Keeping mind in the divine, remembering him at every moment of our life, seeing his grace all the time, chanting his name ever, and seeing his glory everywhere. The yogi who is a devotee of the divine is the highest yogi. Devotion is nothing but connecting with the highest respect and reverence with the Lord. One who surrenders to the divine is saved from the delusions of the world. We end the 6th Adhyaya and in the next or the 7th Adhyaya, which deals with devotion and the divine, which will be summarized in the next session. Om Tat Satiti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Atma Sanyama Yogo Nama Shashtodhyayah.